to another Sunday night with Kazaki Flyer here on Twitch. And this old dog has learned a couple of new tricks this week. I've actually found where the hydraulics controls are on my Skyvan, which will be needed just to get out of this first airfield. So we want to welcome everybody to another Sunday night. And, well, let's stop toiling around and start getting things started here. As soon as I can get my chair rearranged. And with the chair, get me rearranged. The crunching sound is my feet getting onto the rudder pedals. Let's get here into the cockpit and actually get this plane started. First, we need to push back a bit. Let's get into the pushback helper here. Manual pushback. Release the parking brake. And let's reverse. And make sure we get into an external camera view so that we can see how far back we're going. Start a little turn here. And let's stop. Whoa, before we get in the trees. Reset the parking brake here. And let's get our nose back in the cockpit here. Tell the little guy outside, he was a big help. No tip for you. Well, we don't have any ground power to work, so instead of starting in the down position, we'll be starting in the up position. Turn our fuel pumps on here. I need to get rid of that for a second. Here's where the hydraulics were hiding, behind the yoke. We can put the yoke back now. Okay. Turn the inverters on. Battery on. Port generator on. Starboard on. Starboard generator on. Start power to 24 volts. Ignition control to on. Normal start. Fuel open. Okay, whoop, no, close it. Open it. There we go. Are we all on? I believe so. Well, let's start the left engine first. Number one engine to run and to start. Now let's watch the RPM indicator down here. It's 3, 5. Now we introduce some fuel. Look outside. The engine has started. Okay, now we're going to jump back in the cockpit here. Since we can't see our plane for the foliage, let's do the same thing on the starboard side. Run. Start. Left engine to run. Now watch the needle come up, and when it gets to the right spot, put the fuel in. And our props are going. And we can even hear them for a change. Okay, now the trick is to let's sit up a little bit in our chair, because gets a little tricky. After we let our engines warm up for just a couple of minutes here. Because I think I have found one of the weirdest little airports in New York tonight. This was somebody's racetrack. I think the airport is the back straight. And to get to the proper airport, we've got a little ways to go along the taxiway, which happens to be the main part of the racetrack. Okay, we're going to look down here to our console, and we're going to bring ourselves up to taxi. That's good. And then we'll bring in a little bit of power. Increase our RPMs a little bit more there. Okay, release the brake. Add some power. Bring in some more RPM. And there we go. Kick the rudder over and start driving around the racetrack. First we go up the hill. Watch out for the ground, it's kind of rough. And now that we've actually got some brakes, because we're going to need them here in just a second, because we're going to go back down the hill. Keep tapping our brakes here. Literally, this taxiway was the race course. Or it is the racetrack whenever somebody's not trying to fly. Okay, now we come to port. Keep following the track around. Now we got to start going back up the hill. Slow down. Bump. Bump in the road. Put some power back in to make the climb. And back up the hill we go. I'm going to lower my flaps to 1 notch already. Here we come up. Here we're coming up to the top of the hill. Don't let her start rolling backwards. And a bit of RPM boost to get her up over the top of the hill. Now we make our turn here, and this is where the runway proper begins. I think Colonel Forks got the right idea in a Bronco. Because this is one short little runway. Okay. Pitch to flight. RPM's up. Okay. Okay. Clear to the left. Nobody out here but us at the moment. Clear to the right. Cross our fingers and cross our toes. And add the power in. Give her all she's got. It's a true crosswind. 40, 60, 80, running out of room here. Up we go. Pull our power back. Retract our flaps. Trim down a little bit. Then we're going to come around and take a look at the airport from above. Because this is one wild looking little airport up here. There it is. See, it's a racetrack. And it's literally a mountaintop. We'll do a little orbit around this little mountaintop airfield. This is a place ACQ0 needs to find. A lot of fun here for his Candonians. It's paved, but it's not by much. Pull our airspeed back. We wanted about 150. Okay, let's bring up our map. And Colonel Forks got the Bronco up. Awesome. There were a couple of aircraft I didn't get up out of that little airfield. So get ourselves trimmed up here. Check our compass. We're going west. We need to be going east. Continue our circle around. Map, out, out. Shut up, phone. come up. We don't want to crash just yet. We don't want to crash just yet. Plenty of time for that when we get to the end of the flight. We all know how bad I am at these kind of things. Bring your RPMs back just a little bit. Still trimming up a little. Then we're going to do is engage the autopilot, the heading, and the altitude. Hold. Check our instruments and make sure we're straight and level here. Adjust our heading as we head on into the Catskills. So if you've got a little bit of money and a little bit of time, and you live in the big city of New York, this is the getaway spot up here in the Catskills. Or at least it used to be. Now we're going to try to stay here at about this altitude. It's 2,300 feet. We probably need to get up to about 3,000 or at least 2,500. We'll try to do that here with the 750. Let's see, we want 3,000. Enter that and up 500 feet per minute. It'll bounce us down to about 140. Well, I don't think 500 feet a minute would clear that mountain, so we'll go around. We get around this mountain, we'll come back onto course here. It's a pretty tall mountain. Look at all the aerial masts that are on the top of it. Lots of radio antennas up there. Betcha there's at least 4 FM stations broadcasting on the top of that mountain. Now we start our turn back to the right. And we'll head back down this valley, coming up on 3,000. And set that altitude. Now we just played Dodge 'em with the Hilltops. Okay, the vert. Get myself untangled. Look at our map, our bigger map. We have to unfold it. And let's open that up. Okay, our first waypoint is Hunter Mountain, 97 New York, here in the middle of the Catskills. Need to mostly pay attention to what's out the window here. This isn't our normal mid-America flat country. with a few hills. Uh, this is the true Catskills. These are more than a little bump in the road. And after we pass Hunter Mountain, which is a kind of a unimproved airfield, we're headed down to Groton, Connecticut. If you've been to the grocery store, you're familiar with the place. That guy in his slicker on the box of the frozen fish is from here. Straighten our course out, if you would, please. Okay, we're 10 miles from Hunter Mountain. So yeah, I'm still playing with settings here. There, let's try that one. That sounds a little bit better. If it works, it's a miracle. Play with some buttons while we're going to come close to the saddle of this little mountain. There's Colonel Fork. Back there, he's even lower to the ground than I am. Well, Colonel Fork is a lot braver pilot than I am. Well, we've cleared this hill. Adjust our course just a little bit more. And where it looks like we're going to be following this valley for just a little bit. There is a river off to our right. It's over there. And yes, I do know it's an ugly airplane. But I do love the Skyvan. It's the pickup driver in me. I just love driving a truck. But I always think that this part of New York is some of the prettiest country, which is why everybody used to vacation up here. Okay. Hunter Mountain is coming up right in front of us and should be visible somewhere in the amongst the trees below us. Well, there's a ski slope. Okay, there's Hunter Mountain, a very unimproved airfield. That's our first waypoint. We're going to boost ourselves to the right a little bit. So we're a little bit closer to the middle of the valley. Because I think we're going to want to take this mountain ahead of us on the right. Now the names people come up with. Usually in our group flights, we've got the same usual people, and we always know their nicknames. But when you're flying on the East Coast server, you get some of the most different tags in the sim. Okay, follow the river here. We get past the mountain, we'll adjust our course back to port. And let's look around the Catskills here. Back in the 50s, this used to be a hotbed of hotels, motels, and places to just get away from everything on the city life. Colonel Fork is pretty far back there. I think he's found some hills to play with, and we've found a giant stutter. It came back. Yay! And then the tags went away. It needs to learn to stop that. Oh yeah, multiplayer's fixed. Just if any of you ever doubted it. Oh no, we're breaking out of the mountains. This is the Hudson River Valley. That's New York off into the distance. And Albany's up that way. Meanwhile, we're going to cut across New York here, and we're going to head for Connecticut. And from Connecticut, we're going to go into Rhode Island. But when we Groton, we need to land at Groton because we've got to make a little airplane exchange from where our final destination is. So, Colonel Fork, if you're listening, you might want to consider something with a tail hook on it. Meanwhile, this is just some really beautiful country to fly over. It says Middle and Upper New York State. Not way up Upper New York, but just above the middle. And yes, that is the Hudson below us. Double check my facts and look at the map. Yeah, that's the Hudson. Believe it or not, we just passed over Woodstock. Which for a certain brand of music aficionados was a very special place in the late 60s. I was just a bit too young to miss out on that one. And I'm kind of grateful, actually. Huh. Looks like we're heading for some weather here. If we need to, we'll head down. We are VFR. We want to stay out of the clouds. And while we're cruising here, let me see if I can find a couple of more tunes to play. Just something to keep us busy. Okay, there's something for the background. Just something monotonous and something to make some noise in the background. We've still got 89 miles to go to get to Groton, even at 150 knots. Bit of a rainbow up there, which means, okay, we're going to have to get wet. We'll have to watch our descent right here because she doesn't actually hold the altitude. She just does a descent. Come on. Okay, I want 1,800 feet. Just to give it a general idea. And down at 500 feet a minute. Now we just got to watch that altimeter climb down. Okay, we want to get under the rain clouds, but above the ground. The ground is bad. It It may be bad, but it's something I run into quite a lot. Unintentionally, but I hit it a lot. Okay, there's 2,500 feet. Remember, that's above sea level, not above ground level. We need a radio altimeter for that, and luckily our 750's got one built in. Okay, do need to adjust course here. We'll find the coast all right, but it won't be the right coast. Now there's my kind of people. We've got a Cessna, and a Piper, and a Beechcraft up there. And just for randomness, we've got an Ornithopter and an A320. Okay, there's 1,800 feet. Altitude hold, please. And of course, the ground's going to come up to meet us. If it gets too close, we'll grab the yoke and do it the old-fashioned way. Well, Colonel Fork, you're not the only one. As a person who grew up around those things, I'd love to have one of the new NEO options that we're going to get per the buff. Trouble is, I don't trust myself to fly passengers. For 45,000 gallons of aviation gas, yeah, I'll fly that around. But passengers, nah, not so much. Oh, you know that. Look, they're already trying to adapt nuclear submarines to work in space, so why not the buff? It'll still be around. If they have to, we can get one of those Virgin Atlantic things to carry it up to suborbital flight and then launch it with a couple of strap-on X-15s. That cloud bank's starting to look mighty ugly. We might have to get on the horn and call in a change from VFR to IFR. Which I get amused by the VATSIM and everybody's flight plan filing system. The only two real flight plans I've ever filed were over a payphone. and it was still a dime to use them. Boy, it's getting dark under that cloud over there. Okay, now I was watching the airline video guys live from Boston earlier, so I know there was some weather up here, but I didn't think it was going to be getting this bad. Okay, give me my adult beverage here. I need a little fortification. You're correct, Miss. You're correct there, Colonel Fort. They don't know what a VOR is, and TACAN confuses them. TACAN still confuses me, to tell you the truth, but at least I know how to use two VORs to find my way around. It's just sad that we've so few of them left. They used to be. Okay, back when we were flying Flight Sim 2000, a century of flight, VORs were very thick on the ground. It was easy to just hop, skip, and jump your way from VOR to VOR. And they all had the proper range. They didn't have this. Sometimes it's set for 30 miles, sometimes 60. And maybe if you're lucky, it goes up to 195. Ooh, Loran C. Oh, my my father was training navigators to use Loran in buffs. Yeah, we're definitely going to have to put in a call to center here and activate our flight plan as an IFR flight plan. Because we sure just violated the stew out of the avoidance rules. You know, all the gauges in this aircraft, they put in a couple of 430s in it, and to tell you the truth, I'd rather have the Bendix stack. We need to turn that to altitude reporting. Should have done that a while back. Let's turn our radar on and really amuse ourselves here. Yep, there's the radar. And there's the rain. No! Keep the rain away. Colonel Vorka, you're not telling me anything new with that one. In the valley, holler, whatever you want to call it, the dip between two hills that I used to live in, we had the F4s out of Columbus Air Force Base in Mississippi used to fly up to our hometown, and they'd use our hollers to practice in. They'd get just above treetop height and come in at 600 knots and try to stay in the valleys and the riverbed all the way back to Columbus and see how fast they got detected. A couple of the veteran pilots could get within 10 miles of Columbus before the radar'd pick them up. Oh, you know it was a thrill. The first time you knew the only time you knew they were there was after they'd gone by you. And the trees used to do a little dance whenever they'd pass by. Okay, we're doing 160. Let's slow her down just a little bit. We want to get back to 150 here. Because while this is a very fast truck. For a truck, it's very fast. Ooh, boy, look how dark the skies are. Hiccup. Woo. Now, I had some thunderstorms here at the house earlier, but they didn't look nothing like this. It got awful dark, but it didn't rumble or rattle or get carried away. Okay, and we're still 50 miles out of Groton. The real thrill was okay when they'd have a full scramble of the SAC squadrons at our bases, and they were launching buffs every 25 seconds off the runway. That was really would make your hair stand on end. Okay, let's stay out of that down there. Those look like those are power lines down there. We don't want to mess with those. Well, one thing about finding Groton is it's at a river mouth and on the coast. So our only decision will be, are we south of it or north of it? And then we can find it. And it really is getting darker and darker. I haven't lost visual with the ground yet, but it's getting close. There might be an antenna out here with my name on it, but I don't think there's a rock with my name on it out here. This is pretty much the coastal plain, and it's flat. I'm more worried about the wind gusts, which, as you can see, it's starting to pick up and rock the plane a bit. You can tell when my feet come off the pedals. Boom. Because it's not just a coordinated, oh, I'll move that foot or move both feet together. It's, we'll move them one at a time and pray they both work. Well, I'm just going to keep my fingers crossed and an eye on the weather radar down here. Oh, joy! It's solid rain ahead of us, although there is an opening appearing about 50 or 60 miles out. But it looks like it's rain all the way up to our airfield. Happy times. And I'll tell you, if the live weather keeps getting bad where we're going, I am definitely going to go to the cinematic SimFX weather preset because I want to see what I'm landing on. Thank you. A runway is one thing. A flight deck is a totally different creature. Yeah, because eventually that's where we're headed. The ACQ0 in the flight plan. That's the USS Quonset, which is off the coast of Rhode Island. So it's grab your tail hooks and hope you got the scenery installed. If not, there's a land base about just up the coast that's accessible. Let's look at the map and see where it is. There's the mouse. It's Newport State. KUUU. Kilo Uniform Uniform Uniform. That's the closest port town. Looks to be about 5 miles away on the beach. And the closer we get to the coast, the nastier this weather looks. Huh, the joys of live flying. Well, as long as the winds don't get too bad, rain never hurt anybody. Matter of fact, it cleans the airplane. We get landed, if it's still raining when we land, we'll take out a bottle of Dawn and squirt it all over the airplane and hit it with the bristle brush. It's summertime. Airplane wash, $5. And back in the old days when $5 would actually get your car washed. And for 10 you could get it washed and waxed. Okay, now the weather radar is cleared up. So all we got out there is clouds. Unfortunately, we've lost the sight of the ground. So the only thing keeping us up is our out trust and our altimeter, our fuel, and our engines. Whee! Here comes Mr. Cloud again. 25 miles to Groton. Just hoping once we get there, there's a space between the bottom of the cloud deck and the ground. Because the map may say, hey, you're over it. But it doesn't do you no good if you can't see to land on it. Because this doesn't have all the fancy radars and nav systems that a 777 or a A320's got. This is pretty much stick your head out the window and look for a gas station, folks. Yeah, Colonel Forkin, I really want that 707. I hope she's not a turkey. If they'll have at least the usefulness that the KC-135 and Sentry have had, I'll be happy with them. They'll be flyable. I'm not expecting 777 or 737 accuracy. I'm just hoping for a little bit of usefulness. VATSIM usefulness would be nice. You know, something with an APU. Good. There's two liveries I really want from a 707. Pan Am, of course. Well, three. TWA. Want Pan Am, TWA, and TGA, Trans Global Airlines. Which, unless you're a movie fan, you won't get it. Okay, 15 miles out to 15 miles to KGON. Well, if the 707 at least has the level of detail that the 310 had, I'll be happy. I just hope she's a good Smoky Joe like the E3 Sentry turned out to be. Boy, that is one smoky airplane. Okay, let's cut some power back a little bit here. And I'm going to cut the altimeter hold, heading hold, and the autopilot's off. My airplane, 500 feet per minute. Not slow enough for flaps yet, but we're getting there. Well, there's something darker down there. I guess that's the ground. Okay, we're at 1,000 feet and we still haven't got a good visual. Start bringing her up a little bit, adding some power back in. Keep her straight and level. Watch those instruments. Get her trimmed up here. Yeah, keep her trimmed. Okay, 8 miles out. If we break out, we should be able to see it. Okay, there's 800 feet. I see trees. Woof. Man, that's low. $165 above ground. I'm a coward. I'm switching the weather. I want to see what I land on. Nope. There. That one. Okay. Oof. We can see. Guys, we were low, folks. 400 feet above ground level here. Here's Colonel Fort. Okay, I've got the freeware Bronco. He's got the payware. Okay, we want to fly over the bridge here. And yes, that means fly over the bridge, not under it. Because that'd be a risky double span in anybody's book. Okay, there's the airfield off to our right. And we just needs to find us a good runway to land on. Okay, the one we just passed on was the shorter. We'll go for the longer one We don't need it with this airplane, but it's nice to have the safety margin. Okay, bring that airspeed back. Cut in a couple of notches of flaps. There's the runway. Start our turn on final. Hey, Groton, we're a Skyvan on short final here. Okay, we're under 100 knots. 500 feet above the ground. The pappies are not happy. They are saying hi, hi. There we go. Watch our wind drift here. And cut the throttles now. Bumpsy daisy. Hey, got brakes. Nice. Waiting for the next exit here. We take the turn. Woof. And let's park next to the tanker truck. And that's the first leg of tonight's trip. Time to change aircraft. I haven't tried her recently. Let's see. Main menu, please. Continue. Why you ask me that, I don't know. But better to make sure than to click and not mean it. Okay, Pokey. Now, you do your thing. I'm going to take a drink of my adult beverage here that I put in a Mountain Dew bottle. And put the cap back on so don't spill anything. Hello, wake up. Come on, wake up. Well, if ever there's a watched pot, this is it. It's moving. Now, which of Grumman's fine products do we want tonight? We've got to deliver it from Groton up to the carrier USS Quonset tonight. So do we want one of Flying Iron's fine products, or Gottfriend's beautiful, wonderful Wildcat? I'm thinking we want to go with the Wildcat. I just feel better about the thing. There's nothing wrong with the Hellcat. It was meant to be better than the Wildcat in every way. But I still like my Wildcat. Okay, livery please. Something in the basic set. We'll go with Butch O'Hare tonight. All right, let's go with pre-war. Go blue. Okay, back to that. Okay, Groton. There's New London. Yeah, when in doubt, type it. KGON. New London, please. Yeah, just outside the Electric Boat Company yards. Yeah, we'll start in parking 26 tonight. And we'll start her up from scratch. And I want to go to ACQ0. Oh, that's not 0, it's O. ACQ0. Yeah, that's where we're going. Okay. Quick fly. And wait for her to load up here. All right. Come on, get loaded here. Pokey, pokey, pokey. Ah, here we go. And nope, live would be a very bad idea. That live weather will get you. So we're going to change it. No live. Cinematic, please. Okay, winds in the cinematic setting are 284 at 6 knots. I think that'll work. First things first, let's get somebody out there and get the wings unfolded. Here they come. If I had the volume up on that, you could hear the clunk. Okay, magnetos to both. Lights on. Open the cowl flaps. Go on, spin it. And fuel to main. Let's get fuel. Over here. Over here. And center 1 and center 2. Fill her up. This is a short run. We shouldn't need more than main fuel. And we shouldn't need a belly tank for it. A little bit of up trim for takeoff. Unlock the tail wheel. Cough like an idiot. Canopy open. Turn the pitot heat on. Okay, lights on. Come on, up. There you go. Generator on. Battery on. Okay, we don't need you for now. What I'm looking most about that 707 is there's 3 things I want to get on this paycheck. I want to get the Huey. I don't care how bad it is. I want that A6. And the 707. Okay, let's prime the engine here. Oof, I don't think she'll hold anymore. Control surface check. Ailerons check. Elevators. Rudders, check. All right. Lean out the window. Clear prop. Ooh, she didn't like that. Turn the fuel pump on, emergency power. Nope, the primer's full. Brakes are set. All right. That's what it was. I hadn't wiggled that control surface. Kind of important to have the fuel on rich. And there she goes. And the sounds lasted. Now let's look around and see where we're at here. Okay, the runway appears to be behind us. Okay, release the brakes. Chocks away. Okay, that's enough and is enough. Goodbye, FSUIPC. I get tired of the stutters. Let's come out to the taxiway here. Okay, take a hard right if we can. Follow the taxiway down to the end of the runway and turn onto the active. Well, this wasn't always a general public use airport. That looked an awful lot like a aircraft stand. Okay, runway 5 looks like a crosswind takeoff here. The winds have shifted yet again. But according to the SOC, this is the right way to go. Unless I wanted to take the really short runway. At which point we stop the aircraft, lower our goggles, close our windscreen. Come on, all the way. And the windscreen's latched. Come on, stop torquing. Now we got to straighten up here. We'll go ahead and lock that tail wheel. Sit up in our seat so we can kind of see over the cowling. Get centered here. Now there's a familiar sight. 2 Wildcats ready to roll. And power coming in. Let's go. Tails up. Airspeed's up. And up we go. Start cranking. There it goes. Let's do a quick run around the airfield here. There's Colonel Fork right with us. We weren't the only ones using Grutton this morning or this evening. I don't know how we ever put up with not having contrails. Oh. Colonel Fork, you know I trust your word. If you say it's decent, I'm going to be happy with it. That's an aircraft I am going to look forward to tackling the fleet carriers with instead of the old girls. Down trim a little bit and up the coast we go. It's 34 miles up the coast. Pull our RPMs back to 2,500. Reduce trim. Manifold pressure to 30. We're at 2,500 feet, which is more than enough for our pattern here. the Catskills of New York to the craggy beaches and rocky shores of Connecticut and Rhode Island. Looks like she wants to fly at about 2,000 feet today. Well, I'm not going to fight with her about it. That's one thing, is there are plenty of airports along the beach. And we're not horsing it around. We're just flying a nice 200 knots. The contrails add so much. Thank you, SimFX. That's one reason I want the Huey so bad. The ground effects for the helicopters with SimFX are amazing. And if there's ever a helicopter meant to take advantage of it, it's the Huey. Now there's a nice contrast in the skies. A 737 800, a Vision Jet, a Cessna 172, a good old DC-3, and somebody tooling around in an F-22. Which would be great if the U.S. Air Force had built those in the numbers of the F-16. What I like about getting that A6 is, well, one of the sceneries I have puts a carrier in the Gulf of Tonkin. So, so that little flight downtown is entirely possible. I'm impressed. She's really behaving herself today. Which has given us a really good chance to enjoy the Rhode Island and Connecticut scenery here. 7 miles to our destination, and I think I see it up on the horizon. I think we're pointed right at it. Okay, reduce power a little bit and start descending just a little bit. Yep, that's our destination, all right. Those two specks on the horizon. We got to pass over a sailboat first. Okay, there's the cruiser and there's the tin can. I'm a glutton for punishment. Let's make a flight over the deck and come around and try and make a full pattern, and then we'll come around and make a landing. Yeah, there's home plate. A good old Essex class carrier. Now there is an airport off to our north up here. There's its beacon. I wish Super Spud or the guys over at the super carrier at Miltech would really hurry up and get their World War II aircraft carriers in the sim. Okay, hook out. Yep, hook deployed. Coming around. Start cutting our power. Wait for it. There's 160. Start cranking. Get some flaps out here. There's the carrier. Keep our airspeed up as we come out of the turn. A little bit more. There we are, lined up. Okay, looking good so far. No wave off yet. Cut the throttles. And we're on the deck. And just for funsies, this is what it looked like. Hellcats, a couple of Avengers, even some Corsairs back there. And the island of an Essex class carrier. And right there we've got a good Pensacola class cruiser and a Fletcher class destroyer off our starboard side. So we're going to wait for Colonel Fork to get landed up on Kilo uniform up there. You can really see the size difference between a Wildcat and a Hellcat. Speaking of which, I need to pull my tail hook in. And get my brakes set. We don't want to accidentally take off here. Little lines you see drifting across the deck are the side effects of one of the other sceneries I've got for cables, for arrestor cables. Well, I'm tickled. My aircraft sounds seem to have lasted the whole stream tonight. Here in a couple of weeks, we're going to put some flight plans together for Hueys, Intruders, and we're going to get real brave and take a 707 up for a spin. Well, I had noticed that itty-bitty fishing trawler down here off the carrier port side. Buddy, take your lobster pots and head for the beach. Okay, Colonel Fork is down and landed, and pretty much that's it for tonight's stream. Hope you've enjoyed our little tour of the Mountaintop Airstrip, which is a race course. The airstrip is the back straight. And it's literally a mountaintop airfield. Then we flew through the Catskills to across upper New York or middle New York and into Connecticut and down to the naval base at Groton, which is the actual New London base, which is where every famous submarine that it was ever launched in World War II was built at, except for a few that came out of Mare Island in California. 99% of them were built right there in New London. And then there for fun, we had to make a carrier trap up here on the USS Quonset. And Colonel Fork, I do hope you can find the sceneries and haven't deleted them. If you have, let me know and I'll see what I can see how many of the super spuds I can round up and send to you again. I may have deleted them myself to trying to make room on the hard drive. But I want to thank you for flying along with us and keeping us company. Ah, that's cool. And because I can't put my flight plans up in advance, you got no idea where we're going. So you don't know what to turn on. Add-on linker is such a dream. It's such a nice little program. But for the most part, thank you for flying with us and spending the time watching us and listening to us ramble and play some tunes and enjoy trapping carrier decks. And we're just gonna let's see if we can find somebody that's of our bunch that's on. I doubted it being Sunday night. Remember which mouse we're grabbing here. No, none of our gang is on, so we're just going to say goodnight and wish everybody clear skies and sunny beaches and clear flight decks.